Good day everyone. Today I'm going to talk about embryology, a branch of biology which is my specialty. I will cover the history of its development along with the taxonomy of the phenomenon and some ground terms necessary for understanding of the subject. Let me begin by giving you a brief insight of the science of embryology. Before I start, I would like to invite you to ask me any kind of questions along the way whenever you have any. My task is to give you the clearest understanding of the topic. That is why your comprehension embedded in the form of a question is top priority. Historical background. Embryology is a branch of biology that studies the prenatal development of gametes, sex cells, fertilization and development of embryos and fetuses. It emerged relatively recently, although it is of great practical importance, helping to detect and then fix the earliest disturbances in the development of organisms. The first sign of embryology traditionally traces back to the name of Hippocrates. It was him who anticipated the idea of preformism. All parts of the embryo are formed at one and the same time. According to this theory, each embryo is already fully formed and has all the body parts necessary, which only develops with time. To put it in modern language, the growth of the creature is entirely predetermined. The bud contains all the genetic information and defines the future development of the body. The most extreme preformationists claimed that every organism, including the human one, contains a huge number of generations of embryos nested in the body of their ancestors from the biogenesis. This idea received much attention in the 17th and in the 18th centuries, but as the years went by, it significantly subsided. The complete description of the development of an individual is studied within the scope of ontogenesis, which is the subject matter of the branch of biology called ontogeny. A prominent researcher in this field is Carl Baer. He continued work on the chicken wolf, who had been working on the issue before him. On this basis, he confirmed some of the findings of his colleague. The Baer's considerable contribution to this branch of biology brought about the following idea. The development of a body can be described as a gradual complexification of simpler structures. Much of the credit is given to Baer for his discovery of the eggs of mammals and humans. Before he took over the eggs, so-called bubble grafts, quite a considerable size formation filled with liquid in which the wall and there is an egg. Taxonomy. The next thing I would like to focus your attention on is the study of embryology. The subject is classified as a branch of biology as well as the science of the structure of the embryo. Under its domain comes the prenatal development of gametes, sex cells, fertilization, and the development of embryos and fetuses. It branches into general and special. The first one studies the most general laws of formation and development of the embryo, whereas the second one examines the characteristics of the individual representatives of certain groups of species. There is, however, another branch of embryology called teratology. It is a section of embryology which studies malformations in organisms. Finally, there exists a study called ontogenesis or morphogenesis. It's defined as the origination and development of an organism, usually from the time of fertilization of the egg to the organism's mature form, or more broadly, till the end of its life. I'd like to speak a little bit more about it. Embryonic stage. As I said, the embryonic stage is divided into substages. Cleavage, which is characterized as the division of cells in the early embryo. Then, gastrulation, known as a phase early in the embryonic development of most animals, during which the single-layered blastula is reorganized into a multi-layered structure known as the gastrula. And finally, organogenesis, defined as the phase of embryonic development that starts at the end of gastrulation and continues until death. Ovulum. The next thing is to define the egg or ovulum. It's a female gamete in animals, higher plants, and many algae and other protists. That is, any eukaryotic organism which is not an animal, plant, or fungus, which is a peculiar case of oogamy. Typically, an egg is a haploid cell, but may have other polyploid organisms in a ploidy. In the cytoplasm of oocytes, there is a set of nutrients called the yolk. The ovulum is formed naturally as a result of oogenesis. After fertilization of the fertilized egg, zygote, begins the development of the embryo. In parthenogenesis, the embryo and then the resulting organism develop from an unfertilized egg. Its importance. First and foremost, the egg provides a maternal set of chromosomes. In its core, the nourishing material for the embryo is contained, which helps to sustain its life and allows for the further development. Lastly, its shell serves as a protection shield for the embryo, fending off the dangers of the open world. Sperm. Now let's talk about the male reproductive cell, the sperm. It's generally characterized as a gamete in anisogamous forms of sexual reproduction, in which there is a larger female reproductive cell and a smaller male one. Spermatozoa, where spermatozoon is a motile sperm cell or moving form of the haploid cell, that is, the male gamete, are usually capable of active movement and serve to fertilize the female gamete, ovulum. The typical structure of a spermatozoon reflects the shape of the common ancestor of animals and fungi, a nuclear-celled organism which moves with the help of the flagellum in the back, using it like a tail. Its importance. As with the ovulum, the spermatozoon has a set of essential features. Firstly, spermatozoa moves actively towards the ovulum to perform fertilization. Moreover, a spermatozoon provides a paternal chromosome. It determines the sex of the baby. Furthermore, spermatozoa make up the mitochondrial DNA. This cell takes part in fragmenting a signaling protein. Finally, it stimulates the completion of meiosis egg. Fertilization. The last couple of minutes I should allot to the process of fertilization. The process known by the general audience as impregnation is characterized as the fusion of gametes to initiate the development of a new individual organism or offspring. This cycle of fertilization and development of new individuals is called sexual reproduction. During double fertilization in angiosperms, the haploid male gamete combines with two haploid polar nuclei to form a triploid primary endosperm nucleus by the process of vegetative fertilization. Depending on species of organisms in animals that reproduce sexually, distinguish the external and the internal fertilizations. The internal fertilization means the union of an egg cell with the sperm during sexual reproduction inside the female body, the means used by humans, and the external, implying such a mode of reproduction in which a male organism's sperm fertilizes a female organism's egg outside of the female's body. The application of embryology. Currently, the knowledge of embryology is used for the detection and elimination of the causes of infertility, transplantation of fetal organs, and the development and use of contraceptives. In particular, the advancements in this field of science have proved useful in artificial cultivating of problem eggs, as well as conducting in vitro fertilizations and implantations of embryos in the uterus. Now, that was embryology in a nutshell. If you have any questions or ideas to share, then feel free to ask or share them with me. Thank you.